iPad Pro 10.5 Gaming Performance Review. That's coming up right now. Let's go. So, what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology, and welcome to this iPad Pro 10.5-inch gaming performance review. So, I have lined up a few applications. A couple are graphically intensive, such as Real Racing 3, GTA San Andreas, Dead Trigger War Machines, and then I have a few that aren't so graphically intensive here on the iPad. This is the Pro 10.5. You can tell because look at those bezels. Them bezels are very thin here, and this reminds me a lot of the Nexus, that Nexus tablet that was like, I forget what it was it Nexus 10 or whatever? It was just like a really like 4x3 kind of wide display, and that reminds me a lot of this tablet right here. So let's go ahead and go into a Real Racing to begin this. I'm gonna close everything out, and I don't run, this is not a spec channel, I'm not gonna tell you the spec sheet. You guys know what this comes with: 12 core graphics, 810X CPU, the iPad Pro. Let's see how it does though. Let's go ahead and open up Real Racing here. And Real Racing is definitely a taxing on the GPU kind of game. So if you're going to run this game, it's very well optimized though, but it's going to run a lot smoother here on the iPad. And what you're going to notice with the iPad here is not the fact that, you know, the game loads super fast, which it already does, and it outperforms pretty much any other iOS device when it comes to loading. And it's going to be really hard to show this on screen, but you're going to notice just how smooth the frame rates are when you go ahead and turn the car here. Like I say, you're not watching this in 120 hertz. It's going to be hard to see. You really got to go in the store and play with this for yourself. But you can see performance is just absolutely phenomenal here when it comes to gaming on the iPad Pro 10.5. I mean, look at those graphics. This is like console quality here on a tablet. So we're going to come out of that application and head over into Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. So this is definitely a PS2 based game here, and this game is not, how would you say, super graphically intensive. It can run on iPhone 5s pretty decently. So this is not the most graphically intensive game, but it definitely is one that's very popular, and I think a lot of people are going to be playing here on their iPad Pro 10.5. So it's loading up extremely fast, one of the fastest loads I've ever seen on Grand Theft Auto. And you could see, let's get into here, let's skip through here, and you can see there's CJ right there. We're going to get into the little bike. This is a new story. I just started this new story. You know, I just downloaded this app for review. And you can see everything working just great here. I'm getting a little bit caught up right there. Come on, CJ, you know you can do it. Ah! Them cars, man, aren't those just, look at those cars. Don't those look so real? Nah, man, those cars are like from the 90s, basically, in San Andreas here. But definitely you can see, you can play this no problem at all here on GTA San Andreas. This is like, to me, the Grand Theft Auto 5 equivalent for mobile here. Definitely not Grand Theft Auto 5 yet can be supported on mobile, but you know, I actually think this might be able to run something like Grand Theft Auto 5, so it'd be nice to see them bring that to the iPad. So what about Dead Trigger? So Dead Trigger is a very well optimized game, definitely a little bit graphically intensive, but it's super well optimized, so it runs pretty well on all devices. But you can just see how quick the iPad is just snapping into these applications. I mean, it's phenomenal, the speed in which this loads. So gamers rejoice. This is probably the best mobile device you can buy for gaming, and this might even be better than the 12.9 just because it's smaller. It's got enough bezel on the side to not, you know, accidentally touch the screen here. And look at this. I mean, look at the smooth frame rates here on this right here. So let's go ahead and shoot the zombie, and you can see it's just butter. I mean, it's super buttery smooth here for the iPad Pro 10.5 here on Dead Trigger. It looks phenomenal with the 600 nits of brightness. You're not gonna have any issues seeing this guy either. So incredible performance here on Dead Trigger. What about War Machine? So again, we can just see how quick this is loading, and you can see it just fires right into the application. And this, I mean, that was, what was that, 5 seconds? I mean, I've never seen games load this fast on pretty much any device. Now, the 7 Plus gets quite close to this in terms of speed, but man, this thing is just a powerhouse. And you can see we're going to drive over here into the green area. And again, the brightness, the color, the P3 display just makes everything just that much more beautiful here on the iPad. Now, there's only one display I think that's kind of, you know, close to these, or maybe even better. Probably not better, but the AMOLED displays that Samsung employs on their S tablets are pretty phenomenal as well. So those look very punchy and saturated. So you can see right there, just incredible performance there again. So let's go into balls. Now we're getting into a lighter game here, this is definitely a lighter game, and this loads extremely fast. Let's just hit play, and you can see graphics just perfectly fine on these casual games. Pretty much any phone could run those. But let's go ahead and test the speed now. Since we're in these smaller games, you can see Subway Surfers. And here's the loading bar. We're still not to the stage where games are absolutely instantaneous, but they're getting pretty close to that level. So you can see Temple Run here. You can hit play, you're already in the game. Over here on Need for Speed, this is, I think, Hot Pursuit. I'm not exactly sure. No Limits. This is No Limits right here. And these still take a little bit of time here to load. They're not extremely slow, though. This is pretty fast for Need for Speed. And look, we're already about to be in the game. Now, comparable Android tablets will probably take much longer than that to load here. So you can see, again, just look at the graphics. I mean, this is like console quality here on your iPad. And I know I'm sounding like an Apple fanboy right now, but I mean, there comes a time where you got to appreciate what the hardware is offering you here, regardless of the Apple logo on the back or not. This could have been a Samsung logo. This could have been an LG logo. Regardless of the brand, this is just a phenomenal tablet, regardless of that aspect. You can just see, if I could play this on another, tablet that said LG on the back, for example, I would say the same thing. So definitely not about the Apple side of things, but you can see just great performance again here on this guy. We hit some nitrous right there and pretty decent stuff there. So going into, this is the Blood and Glory, I believe, right here. Yeah, this is Blood and Glory. You can see things load up just fine. But after this, we're going to go ahead and test the multitasking on the performance to see how that does. Now, other iPads also perform quite well here. I don't want to do any in-app purchases here. Let's see what's going on. Let's do day one. And let's see if we can get a fight going on here. Well, I'm not going to waste too much time in there. That was taking too long. So let's go into this game right here. This is Sward Ego. This is like a little adventure game with a guy with a sword. I thought it was pretty cool. I like this game a little bit. So we can go over here. Reminds me of like a cheap version of Zelda. So let's go down here. And you can see pretty decent here. So games like this, these are going to also be very nice and playable because I just fell in the water and I got out of there. So these are going to be nice and playable because the screen is, once again, large. It gets very dim. So this looks like a game you might want to play at nighttime when everybody's sleeping. You could really knock this down very dimly here, and it'll be a really enjoyable experience. Now, the screen does look reflective because I got the lights beaming on it, but that's pretty much the gaming performance there. You just seen it right there. So let's go ahead and now run a multitasking. So I'm going to go in these apps and see how they hold in the background, and you could just see, look at that performance. That is just incredible. I mean, that's ridiculous. No app reloads at all. All of your games open right away. And again. 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 It's probably getting annoying. I keep saying and again. Hashtag and again. But as you can see, definitely incredibly fast. I don't think there's any more to talk about here when it comes to the gaming performance of the iPad Pro 10.5. You've seen it here. You've seen it here first. Let me know your thoughts on it. Did you pick one up? Definitely, hands down, the best gaming mobile platform device you can buy right now. You heard it here. Anyway, Nick here helping you to master your technology. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subs if you loved it. Nick here. Be sure to be well and peace.